Hello, happy day. Hey, be sure to hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. I'm up near 500 subscribers now, which is really cool. Today on my bench, I have one of the finest instruments I've ever come across in the world of music. And it is a Pedulla bass. It's owned by a very good friend of mine. I do a lot of work for him on his instruments. At the same time I was fixing his Pedulla, I worked on a Paul Reed Smith guitar for him. So the Pedulla had some electronics issues, some issues with the volume control, needed a full setup, intonation work, and we did some adjusting to the instrument when he came in to pick it up with respect to the string action to get that exactly perfect for him. Boy, and I cannot tell you how amazing those instruments are. And from the sounds of it, Pedulla isn't going to be building any more instruments. This is one of the finest instruments I've ever seen and played. So, having said all that, if that interests you, stay tuned and check out what we did. So, as I've discovered, Pedulla basses, which is what I have on my workbench right now, are very, information and work being performed on these instruments is very, very rare and hard to come by. Lots of guys demo them. They just play them. They don't talk about the electronics. They don't speak about how the controls work or any of the switching or anything like that. I've opened this one up. And again, there's virtually no information on the internet about anything about these. I don't even know exactly what all the controls do, having had this bass plugged in, having it work. But I'm seeing this one pot right here, an A250K, and it matches the stem of all of the other pots in this. This instrument has been worked on by other technicians, at least another technician, and the owner is not terribly happy about the results of such work being done. Regardless, this volume pot, this is a master volume pot. The owner of this bass really wants to work that thing. So I'm going to take a look at making that thing a little easier to turn without replacing it. Not knowing if this is an original part on this bass makes that difficult, because I would love to put this beautiful CTS pot in there, which would match it perfectly, but I don't want to remove any of the original parts out of this, and I have to assume this is original. It looks, if that's been replaced, they did my compliments. You did a good job on that. What I intend to do is remove the back cover off of this and see if it's all gummed up with grease, full of grease, or something that's making that knob really difficult to turn. I'll be back with that. Okay, so on this Pedulla bass, here's all the electronics, and they've done, look at this. Look at the body cavity cover. Yeah, that is one beautiful piece of maple with a beautiful scratch in it. Anyway, master volume pot. That's what this is. It's a 250K alpha potentiometer. What I've done is I've hooked up my drill to it. I can find nothing that will break the volume pot looser than what it was. But I did notice that there's a large amount of black grease inside the shaft here. So I've hooked my drill up to the volume pot, and I can just sit here and let it ride forwards and backwards. You see it just sitting there spinning. If your volume pot's making noise, this is a great way to do it. Pull the back off of it and just let it roll. And Deoxit will usually do a good job, and CRC, just electrical contact cleaner, will do it also. Now, furthermore, there's a little metal plate here. This is an insulating piece that all the contacts are run through, something similar to a circuit board, I suppose. I'm also grabbing this metal around the exterior of this wing that comes off of it, and I'm kind of prying on it up and down in this direction to tilt the potentiometer. This is brass. The center shaft is steel. I'm kind of tilting it a little bit to get that thing to kind of break loose a little bit. Pushing down, now I'm tilting up, now I'm pushing down. Being very careful not to break this insulator off of that or to flex it too much to try and keep this original, hopefully original pot in here. It's a way to make things hopefully work better and repair this or restore this to its original factory condition. I don't know if somebody put grease in here that wasn't the appropriate type of grease and it dried and hardened on the interior. I cannot say that. Again, this base has been worked on by someone else. I'll be back. Hang in there. Alright, so I have gotten this volume control pot to turn very easily now. I'm just spinning it with my fingers. That little job with the drill did a wonderful job. Now, the controls. This is a seriously weird electronics configuration, as you can see. Alright, so the controls on that Pedulla bass, top left is a volume, master volume. Below that, bottom left is the blend control. Bottom right is the bass control. Top right is the treble control, and the switch is active in the down position, inactive in the up position. Whew. The instrument is pretty dirty, and the fingerboard in particular is pretty dirty. You can see the guck in between the frets, and the frets seriously need a polishing. A little bit of dust up here. You know, in the initial inspection on this thing, and checking the neck relief with the old strings on the instrument, boy, this thing is really set up nicely. I think the one real big adjustment I'm going to make is going to be likely the intonation of the instrument. I've been checking that. With old strings, it's kind of pointless to do it, but with the old strings, the intonation was really set nicely. Very, very small discrepancies in tuning. So next time you see this thing, this fingerboard is going to be all clean and polished. Get ready. Here we go. Hey, welcome back to the Pedulla bass. It's coming along very nicely. We have the fingerboard all cleaned up. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? So, one of the complaints that the owner had is that one of the pickups is kind of moving on him because of his playing style. In particular, this rear pickup flexes a little bit. He wants me to stiffen that up. The front one not so much, but this one definitely, and you can see his finger rests right here on this while he's playing. So I am going to pull a pickup, a Bartolini. So probably fast forward over this whole screw turning adventure. Alright, so the repair that I did on the pickup, I forgot to shoot video. I placed a piece of fairly stout foam under this pickup, and now, I mean, you have to mean to push that down so he can use it as a thumb rest. I did nothing to this one. He wasn't too complaining, and this one still feels pretty stiff. What was going on with this? There's a piece, they used rubber underneath each one of these screws to insulate it from the body and let the pickup be able to move up and down. And that rubber over the years of use and abuse has kind of softened up. The rubber is still in there. I filled the gap in between the rubber pieces with foam, which gives it a lot more resistance and able to hold that thing solid. And boom, polished up the saddles. Look at that. Isn't that shiny now? And we'll do a flyby over the fingerboard now that it's all clean. Yeah. Those frets are polished to 2000 grit. And then I use my special buffing compound to polish them out to the point that they are mirror-like, very mirror-like. This camera does not do them justice. It looks great. It's ready for strings. Well, the Pedulla is restrung. Have the strings now following the contour of the fretboard. String action on this instrument, I adjusted it at the 17th fret, 6/64, 5/64, 4/64, 4/64, and right down around 3/64. So this is right here at the 17th fret on the high string, and 0 fret buzz. I've got to say that this instrument, just unplugged, the quality of tone, sound coming off of this instrument unplugged is unbelievable. Unfortunately, somebody used the wrong size Allen or a hex wrench on all of these knobs, and either that or these are like a decimal type instead of being a 16th. It's a point. 127 instead of a 0.125, whatever the case might be. I did not have a hex wrench that fit the tightening screws or studs in here. So what I did use was a 1/16 inch hex screw or hex wrench, and used a very, very small amount of steel wool on the end of that hex wrench to get it in there and get those tinched up. They look rounded off as if someone else, when they pulled these knobs, used the wrong size wrench to tighten them down. I cannot say. The owner had the wrench that came with the instrument. It did not work in these, so I'm guessing these have been stripped out at some point. Whew, it's time for this thing to go home. Non-active, active, bass, treble, pickup blend, and master volume. Look at how easy that turns. It's like, oh man. Well, the Pedulla is all ready to go home. I thought I played a little bit, man. This is really one of the finest instruments I've ever had on my bench. Remarkable tone. The pickups and the electronics in this are really spectacular. They sound amazing, and boy, this thing is hot. Active in that position, this switch is active. In the up position, it is non-active. So you can go from a non-active, let's say, verse of a song to an active and get that volume boost and the response that you get out of an active pickup system. All the knobs are set at 12 o'clock, dead center, and this thing is hot. Intonated perfectly. This thing, boy, the accuracy in this is really spectacular. Everything at 12 o'clock now. It overdrives this little toy amp that I'm playing through. And then we go active. Oh, get ready. Yeah. It's tearing stuff up. This is very high output, man.
fun instrument to play. Peace, y'all.